Hey, what's good? My name is Thea. I'm an artist producer from also Norway, and I'm really looking forward to this class and share with you guys my tricks and learn from you. So, let me just run through my template real quick. So, I'm using Cubase for music production. Um, I'm grouping all of my instruments together and color coding them. I also have a arranger track that I use to, um, arrange the song. I have a very, standard arrangement chain at the moment with intro, verse, pre chorus, chorus, and so on. And if I, if I finish the chorus, I can just start laying it up very quickly. Let me just start from the drums really quick. I grouped all of my rhythmical elements here. I have my kick, snare, hi-hats, and then I have my claps and risers. And Cubase has a lot of cool VSTs that I like to use. For kicks and snare, I'm using the Groove Agent, and basically I'm loading the Groove Agent with my favorite samples that that I like to use, and then it's easily accessible from there. I can also choose other kits. This kit is the kit that I made by using Pop Music's Pop Drum Kit. And then same with my snare. I'm using the Make Pop Music Pop Drum Kit and snare from there. And then I have some hi-hats. These are some of the samples that I think I got from Unison. They have a lot of cool like hi-hat tones. And then I also have claps. I think the claps are also part of the Groove Agent. When it comes to the sauce, I'm using RC20. I guess that a lot of people are using this at the moment. It gives this cool vinyl tape kind of vibes to anything really. So I'm using it on my kick, on my snare, and maybe even on my hi-hats. And on my kick, I have a reverb just so that I have more space. And then I also have this thing called Neutron. This is basically a Ozone VST, like it's a part of Ozone production bundle, and it just it's like a compressor thing that's dynamic, so it just does a cool like dynamic EQ sculpting, and then also a little bit of EQing and a little bit of excitement, I guess. And this is all really AI, so I just didn't use any settings. I just let the VST listen to the track and came out with the parameters here. And then also I use EQ, right? Everyone uses EQ. I have the Infinity EQ from Slate Digital. Pretty straightforward. I love the parameters. It's really cool EQ. Maybe one cool thing I do in my snare and in my claps that I can show you guys is to use like a stereo delay, so that it has this kind of cool, a little bit more juicier sound to it. And then I'm also using this on the claps, like it's a stereo delay from Steinberg, so no big deal. I also have some hi-hats that are kind of transposed lower to just have that like darker hi-hat runs, this type of stuff. And then I also have some risers, but I haven't added any risers yet, so it's going to be interesting to see what type of risers I can make for this track. So that's pretty much my drums. And then I have a bass track that is a Serum VST. Just a very basic 808 sound that I like. It's from the Unison Ice sample pack. It's called 808 Friday. It's just this really dope kind of pop 808. Very clean. And then I use Pro C2 on this channel, on my bass channel, to compress it. Obviously sidechain to my kick, so my sidechain kick just sends goes to the Pro C2 on my bass channel. I also use Neutron here. Neutron is pretty much everywhere in my tracks, as I really like the sculpting effect that it has. It's like the dynamic EQing. I just really love, to add a little bit of punch to it, I guess. And then these are my drum and basses. Then I have an entire, group of my pianos and plucks and all that stuff, like pads and everything. I have this cool piano sound here that I get from Keyscape. Basically, I'm using Keyscape a lot for piano sounds. They have really cool piano sounds. I'm using a cinematic one here. And then I'm adding some reverb. I have the RC20. I have the Neoverb that's, adding a little bit of reverb. And then I have a little bit of chorus. And lastly, a little bit of Neutron to, again, do some sculpting and equalizing. And it's pretty nice also. Let's see. It sounds a little bit like this. Yeah, it's very cozy. I like it. And then I have a bunch of riser kind of synths. I'm still in the process of figuring out the riser. So every time I make a track, it's something else. So yeah, I have just a shaper box that can maybe give it a little bit of rhythm. I have multipass, so I'm adding some reverb between 250 and 3000 kilohertz. And I also have this kind of jazz pluck from Omnisware. And we hope that it's not gonna crash. Okay. So I'm using a lap steel, which sounds a little bit like this. It's like... I have Arcade, which is very cool, and just you can basically alter the samples and either speed them up or sequence them or something, just to have these really cool effects. So I really like this. It's like, you can make a lot of cool hooks with it, I guess. It's really cool. You can also record your own vocals. And then I have Spitfire. And I really love the pizzicato, like a very short violin tone. I I have a bunch of reverbs and stuff there. And then I have my pads. I just really like to use these pads from the Omnisphere. The Boys Choir, Love Signs, and Vapor Signs. I think I could mix it here too, but I just, decided to have them separately. And it sounds a little bit like this, guys. Yeah, it just gives, it's kind of like Post Malone. I really love it. So I have these pads, and then I have my easy keys, which I love, especially for songwriting, because obviously it's like when you're, songwriting, you just, sometimes it's like, okay, let's come up with a chord progression, and then you can just drag and drop here, like, just choose a key and drag and drop. So yeah, it's really cool to just, very quickly add some chord progressions. So I really like easy keys for doing that. So that's pretty much my, plucked synth stuff. I can add new stuff, remove new stuff, but they are all grouped together here. Oh yeah, and also about the like other saucy stuff that I have here. I really like the Baby audio. They have this thing called Super VHS and Spaced Out. That sounds really dope. Just, like very, I just really love the sound. It has a lot of weird things. I can't even explain what they are, but Stardust, Mellow, Clamp. I just, had to play with it a bit to figure out the sound I like. And then I have the iHeart New York Baby Audio. That's, parallel compression. Just gives a little bit like prettier sound. And then Comeback Kid with a little bit of, reverb and tape delay and flavor and stuffs. Get some spice. I don't use anything on Arcade. On Spitfire, I have the Super VHS and Spaced Out as well. And then these are my plugs. And now moving on to the guitars. Guitars is basically a audio track with guitar rig. Now I tend to not use guitar rig that much, but because I have an amp and I like to play it on my amp, and I have a lot of weird pedals there, so I like to use those pedals. But I mean, guitar rig is amazing to have a lot of crazy sounds, so it's good. And then I have my vocal chain or my vocal groupings here. Typical vocal, I guess, groupings here. You have the main lead, left and right hard panned main. Then I have a delayed throw. I have one for a rap verse. I have the harmony right and left. I have one that's a tape that I use for tape stop. And then I have one that I use for like chorus hook writing. So it's kind of like an extra channel that I use for just writing mostly. But my main lead chain, vocal chain, looks a bit like this. I start by auto-tuning my vocal sample or vocal, and then I go to the de-esser. I have the IOSys de-esser 50%. Then I go to the virtual rack. It's the classic strip on the virtual mix rack, Select Digital. Then I load the CLA. Not very high on gain or reduction, so I'm just using it, as little as possible actually. And then I use Neutron, basically sculpting, equalizing, compressing a little bit further and exciting it. Then I add a little bit of fresh air, and And then lastly, a little bit like EQ, obviously low cut and a little bit of boost and so on. So this is kind of like how my vocal chain looks like for my main. Then I have the delay throw channel. That is pretty similar, I think. They're all very similar apart from the fact that these gets like the 7th harmonies, the 5th, 4th, whatever. I'm using Nectar to do the harmonizing. I mean, I would probably sing it myself, but for writing purposes, I like to, you know, have them there so that I can just copy paste the main lead and then see how it works. And then I have a tape stop, you know, very typical effect that everyone's using nowadays. And then I have one that's called Chorus Hook, and this is a track that I'm mainly using for recording, like writing choruses and stuff. And it's actually, it has a auto tune that's a little bit like more strong because it sounds a bit more like an effect. And then I have a bunch of effects channels. I'm sending most of these vocals to the reverb effects channels that I have. I just like to really mix a bunch of different type of reverbs. So basically I have a slap delay so that your vocal pops more. Using the repeater VST for that. It's just a modern tape slapback setting. And then I have a short play from NeoVerb. Then I have a long reverb from Verb Swipe Classics. It's like very long reverb tail, like 20 seconds of decay. Then I have a whole reverb, short. And then I have lustrous plates from Slate. It's really amazing sounding plate. I'm actually sending my piano to this one as well. And then I have the spaced out from the Baby Audio. And then I like to just really mix the amount of delay. Also, you can do some automation, right? Like you can add your automation here and just like, you know, have more delay at the end of the phrase or something. So this is pretty much how it looks like. And depending on the project, obviously I'm adding or removing. But it's mainly this. This is how I group them right now. And I hope to improve this and make it better. So yeah, I hope you like this video. Looking forward to meet you guys. Bye.